Hey again. This is a good question. I like this question. Thank you for asking. Why do I need the surgery if I'm already a woman?
Whoa, you have a deep voice.
Well, that's because I was born with a condition that caused me to develop male sex characteristics. And I want to correct as much of that as possible. However, I need to add a great big caveat to this. Genitalia does not define gender. I am a woman because I say that I am a woman. What is or is not between my legs is absolutely irrelevant. Also, I need to state that choosing to get the surgery or not get the surgery is an intensely personal decision. And not all women want to get the surgery. And that is completely and utterly valid. So again, thanks for asking. Love you.
What the hell did you just say?
Genitalia does not define gender.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Now hang on one second. Did that fellow we just heard from in the first clip really just say that being born with you guys know what I'm talking about.
My meat and two veg, my twig and berries.
Yeah, that. So did the fella in the first clip really just say that being born with the old wedding tackle is a condition like eczema or halitosis? Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I have a fairly quick and very crazy weekend Clown World update for you guys today. And as usual, we have, well, very little time to waste. So let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment. So this individual who slightly resembles a beluga whale is Misty. Now, Misty is a biological man that identifies as a trans woman and calls himself a lesbian. Now, my question is, why does Misty get to use the ladies' restroom? Because he grew his hair out, colored it blonde, and threw some curlers in it? How does that make sense?
This is absolutely gross. That boy is a P.I.G. pig.
All right, let's keep it moving with today's celebrity endorsement of Carmelo Harris. Here we have Hollywood actor Seth Rogan. It's going to be on some list, whether it's Epstein or Diddy. It's like potato, right? Anyway, Seth Rogan's main concern this election cycle is legalizing marijuana. Now, I'm not coming out pro or against that. Just shows you how far out of touch these people are with average Americans who are more concerned about being able to afford groceries or stopping the illegal invasion happening at our southern border. Roll it.
Hi. So Kamala Harris was just asked point blank what her thoughts on weed are. Let's listen to what she said.
I just feel strongly people should not be going to jail for smoking weed. And we know historically what that has meant and who has gone to jail. Mm-hmm. Second, I just think we have come to a point where we have to understand that we need to legalize it and stop criminalizing this behavior. And so, and I've actually, this is not a new position for me. I have felt for a long time we need to legalize it. So that's where I am on that.
I love it.
Well,
okay.
She said weed, not cannabis. Pay attention, y'all.
Yeah, that's old school, right?
Yeah, that's old school.
I like it. I like it.
Doesn't get much more clear than that. Kamala Harris was the first major party presidential nominee in history to have ever called for weed legalization. And if we want to see weed legalized at the federal level, we have to make sure Kamala Harris wins and Democrats get control of Congress. It'll take a joint effort from all of us. Excuse me, I had to. So please make a plan to vote by November 5th. Thank you so much.
Are you retarded?
All right, next up we have this lovely old lady who we've seen here on the channel a few times in the past, singing her songs about Orange Man bad and Democrat Party good. And listen, even though her lyrics are completely ridiculous, and she obviously watches far too much CNN and MSNBC, I actually kind of like Granny. She's spry.
Is Granny spry?
Anyway, in her latest song, she sings about how she just voted for Carmelo Harris, whose name she mispronounces, by the way. Then she goes on singing about how Donald Trump is going to lock her up in some prison cell in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, because she's the enemy within. Roll it.
2, 3. Today I voted for Kamala Harris. No, I did not vote for Trump. I'm scared he might win. I'm the enemy within. I've been singing songs against him for months. You've probably heard some of them. I did it to protect our democracy. According to Trump, I'm the enemy. At least I will be in good company. Probably MSNBC will be first. Then I'll follow quite a bit after that. Then there's Liz and Pelosi, Obama's, that's true, the Clintons and all of the government blue, Democrats everywhere, rich and poor, who gave for democracy and gave their share, will all be sent to God knows where, to a big cell in Cuba we all will share. Is this a bad dream or a bad nightmare? Wake up! Wake up. Vote. Vote for Kamala Harris for President of the United States. Wake up from this nightmare. Save our democracy. Vote blue all the way up and down the ballot.
Your song? It's awful. I hate it.
How crazy is it that these people, like that elderly woman, have bought this propaganda hook, line, and sinker to the point that they think they're going to get locked up in prison if Trump becomes the next president? Anyway, next up, let's see what this young lady has to say about the upcoming election. Roll it.
I'm going to say this with my whole chest. This election is not political. It's moral. And I don't care how many friends or family members I lose with my vote. You cannot say you care and love somebody and vote for somebody that's going to hurt them. It's just as simple as that. I don't give a fuck about the price of gas and groceries right now. I don't. That's not a deal breaker. But taking away somebody's civil and human rights away from them, that's a deal breaker. Taking rights away from women's bodies, that's a deal breaker for me. Mistreating the LGBTQ community, that's a deal breaker. Discriminating against the trans community, that's a deal breaker. That is a deal breaker. It is moral. If you are a Trump supporter, get off my page. Get up from my table and leave. You are not welcome here. You don't belong at my table. Don't announce your departure. Just get up and leave. That's all I gotta say.
You see that? That's a stupid bitch.
All right, next up we have this young fella who seems to think that gender is assigned at birth. Roll it.
You have a gender reveal party for a baby when the baby hasn't even decided what gender it's going to be yet. Interesting.
Any other stupid questions?
All right, next up we have this young lad who thinks that he has transitioned into a fucking hot woman. Roll it.
So one of the biggest surprises that's come out of my transition to this point is just how hot I consider myself to be now. Like, I've talked about this before, but I'm gonna say it again. I am fucking hot. And this is something that I never, in a million years, ever thought that I would genuinely feel about myself before I started my medical transition. Like, when I look in a mirror, I see a woman, and not just any woman, a fucking gorgeous woman. And what shocks me so much is that I mean it. I'm not just telling myself that I'm hot. I actually think I'm fucking hot.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Hey guys, real quick, before we go any further, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of today's video. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let this loop on the screen. Now, I will play the audio in just 1 minute. And yes, it sounds as creepy as it looks. Anyway, today's video is being brought to us by our first sponsor is none other than Pastor Bob Rogers. Pastor Bob, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video, sir. I really appreciate the continued love and support. And our second sponsor for today's video is Funky Tees, the coolest t-shirts on the streets. Funky Tees, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. I really appreciate it. And I want to give a big shout out to today's honorable mention, Felicia B, for leaving a super thanks on the last video. So Felicia, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So once again, today's video sponsors are Pastor Bob Rogers and Funky Tees, with the honorable mention going to Felicia B. Now, if you'd like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. All right, let's hear what this fella and his little doll have to say.
Good morning, my precious darling, my beautiful girl. Me and Ashley love you.
All right, that's creepy.
Now, I saw this screenshot of a GoFundMe making its rounds on the interwebs, and we all know what a cruel place the internet can be. So this mom has raised $975 of a $40,000 goal, and it says provide hope and support to a single mom. My question is, where's Dad?
A black guy. Imagine that.
Right, next up we have this young lady who consumes more sugar in one day than most people do in a year. The caption says, "What I eat in a day as a gorgeous plus-size girly." Roll it.
As a gorgeous plus-size girly. Today was a very busy day. I made sure to start off with a coffee to keep me going throughout the day, but this ended up being 1 out of 3 coffees. Yes, I said 3. We just happened to be at events that had special coffees that I wanted to try. So I did. But this was my first coffee, and it was a pumpkin coffee. The plan for today was only to go to Destination Stars Hollow, which was an hour and a half away. But we made a pit stop, and we ended up going to something called Cows and Coffee. My son has never been around farm animals, so this was a perfect time for us to go. It was adorable there. I got an iced coffee where you can add your own creamer to it. I will say they need more creamer options. Then I got a chocolate chip muffin that was recommended, and it was amazing. Then we made it to Destination Stars Hollow. We ended up eating at the Hungry Diner. And first I started off with a water. Then I ordered the Stay Basic coffee, which is a pumpkin coffee. Then I ordered a Southwest burger with fries, which was just as good. And I saved the fries for my son. Then I got home and drank some more water. Then I had some Reese's Minis as well as a Diet Pepsi. And then some chips and salsa.
Holy cow.
Eat vegetable. Eat broccoli.
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up with this clip of Hillary Clinton on CNN. Remember, this is mainstream media saying that Donald Trump's upcoming rally at Madison Square Garden in New York City is equivalent to that of a rally held at Madison Square Garden in 1939 by the Nazis. Anyway, things are clearly getting very crazy out there, guys. So please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time. Love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
And, you know, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
You lying bitch. She is lying like a motherfucker. I know that. Ooh, that TSA shit tingles. This motherfucker's lying.
And you ain't black.